people just like knowing about doulas. Do you see this as something that at some point it should be just provided to everyone going through through childbirth through the hospital, similar to how you have like hospitals give you like a social worker if you need one? So it's not something that people on their own have to figure out.
Yeah, I think everybody should have a doula is the short answer to that. I also am wary of doulas becoming completely immersed in the hospital setting and the institution setting, because of the history and the feelings and, like, I think there's something to be said about being a strong partner with a hospital organization as opposed to being, consumed kind of like and becoming part of the institution. But I absolutely think everybody should have a doula. I think even if people don't want a doula, they should still have one, because maybe they don't know what they have access to through a doula, but also doula side of me says if you don't want a doula, it's absolutely your autonomy and you can do what you want. But I think that people deserve service. They deserve support. They deserve to not go through this by themselves. Even as a family unit, like, you deserve to have someone kind of going on the journey with you and providing, very, in my opinion, very expert, professional support. So my goal and hope is that, in 5 years, in some way, shape, or form, I will be attached to the fact that everybody has access to a doula. But yeah, I think that everybody should have the choice, right? It shouldn't be a can't afford this, or I don't have the energy to apply for, or I don't know where to look for one. Like, it should be something that's as accessible, like you said, as like a social worker at a hospital or a physical therapist or something like that. Like, just being able to reach out and get what you need.
Yeah, and kind of as you were explaining the kind of caution of having a doula be like an employee of the hospital, I kind of thought about it as you're talking. Yeah, because you don't want people to really be considering, so who do you really work for, me, or do you work for the hospital system who's like, look, we got to keep these costs low. Thank you for pointing that out. And like as we're coming to wrapping up here, I definitely want to kind of talk about the other aspect of doulas that you're talking about, or like a deaf doula. Can you kind of say like what are some of the positives that you all bring to the to people who are going through, whether it's a miscarriage, a loss of a child, abortion, things like that, that kind of really make people, I don't want to say feel better, because it's kind of nothing that can be done to make you really feel whole after that, but kind of like lighten the load that people face.
Right. I mean, I think when we talk about birth, we have to also talk about death because it's a possibility and it can happen. And so being prepared to support that, being able to, like, understanding that whether or not a baby was produced by a pregnancy, at the end of a pregnancy, your body still is going through changes hormonally, right? Like, and so you might produce milk, there's all these different things that are still going to happen to your body. And you may or may not be in a space to navigate those things by yourself because of grief or because of loss or fear or shame, right? And so the idea is that your body is still going through a physiologic change and is required care and rest and support. And so that's where doulas can come in, right? Like, even in the postpartum period, like, we have, you're not supposed to be up walking around doing things and doing laundry and walking up. You're supposed to be resting and healing, right? And so even if a baby wasn't produced, your body still is requiring time to heal, which means that there's still space for someone to serve and support you. Also, especially when we're talking about abortion, like, you might not want people close to you walking with you through that. You might want somebody who is impartial, someone who doesn't have any, like, judgments against whatever and doesn't have an opinion. It's just there to support you, right? And so holding space is really important. Knowing that you can't fix everything and that you're not there to fix everything as a doula. You're there to hold space and to provide support.